Hey, what's up, YouTube? What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Ben. And I want to get on here today and just share from my heart, share my story. The other day, I posted in my intro video a little bit about my journey. And I encouraged all of you to come, subscribe, and come on this journey with me. Well, this morning, I want to share, and I'm going to do this in probably 2 different videos, my journey and what my life has been like the last 41 years. I'm thinking of doing 2 videos because there's so much to unpack, but also there's multiple separate aspects to my story, and I don't want to overwhelm and put you in a complete state of shock. So, to kind of lessen the blow and to kind of make it easier for you to digest, but also to share the aspect of the story. And you'll hear bits and pieces with each video kind of interweaving in and out. And so it'll make sense to you. But I just wanted to take this time and share my story with you. And if you have any questions, thoughts, things of that nature, please go ahead and drop them in the comments below. Share the video, subscribe, invite people to watch this video, because I really believe that this video is going to encourage, it's going to inspire, it's going to create belief and give reason for hope. And that's really what I want to do, and what I really try to do, to be honest, is to encourage, inspire, believe, and hope. And so let's get going. Let's go on this journey, and I hope it blesses you. As I said in my initial video the other day, I am 41 years old. I live here in the Portland metro area of Oregon. And I have battled my entire life with something called CHD. CHD is Congenital Heart Disease, or Congenital Heart Defect. Congenital means born with. So for me, I was born with a rare, serious, and life-threatening heart condition called tetralogy Fallot, pulmonary valve atresia with right pulmonary stenosis. Now, I know that's a lot. I know you're like, what is that? Essentially, the chambers in my heart were backwards. My heart was 2 times size of a normal heart at birth. I had a very large hole in my heart at birth, and I was born without the pulmonary valve in the pulmonary position. My first major open heart surgery was at 2 weeks old. My second one was at 9 months old. Both surgeries, I had a less than 5% chance of survival. So, yeah, I came out the womb fighting, literally. Also, when I was born 2.5 weeks late. In fact, Mount St. Helens erupted 8 days before I was born. So when I was born, my parents were actually cleaning out the ash in the car, or my biological dad was, the same day that I was being born. So just to kind of give you some historical aspects and markers as far as my birth in relation to a very well-known historical event. When I was born, so I was born 18 days late, but I was also born with the cord wrapped around my neck 3 times. So I came into this world, came out of the womb struggling. And it was detected pretty quickly that I had a heart condition. And like I said, at 2 weeks and at 9 months old, I had my first 2 major open heart surgeries. I am here by God's grace. Most people that you see with my type of CHD, tetralogy Fallot, you don't see them as adults. We're kind of rare. Most kids that were born, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s with tetralogy didn't make it. Didn't make it past their early teens. But here I am 41 years later. I have had 27 heart operations. 7 that have been major open heart since birth. 25 heart operations. 25 of those 27 heart operations have been since 1989 alone. This has also led and caused me to have so many challenging aspects in my life. I was able to play sports up until through middle school. Couldn't after that because the condition became too much, and I was constantly in and out of the hospital having surgeries of some sort with my heart. And like I said, it's been crazy. In addition to the 27 heart operations, I have had 3 heart attacks. I have had 3 strokes. I have currently 2 aortic aneurysms in my heart, one on the top of my aorta, one on the bottom of my aorta. In 2007, after my last major open heart surgery, I went into heart failure. And I've been in heart failure for 14 years. So heart failure, CHF, congestive heart failure, is what I have and what I'm in now. And a lot of times I get questioned, the question I get asked a lot is, how did you know? How did you know about your health? How did you know about your heart condition? All these things. Well, again, my original CHD diagnosis was right at birth. But heart failure, for me, my original heart problems over time developed and turned into congestive heart failure. And so here we are, it's June 2021, and I've been in heart failure for just over 14 years now. Over the last 14 years, it's been a battle. I've had 3 strokes in the last 10 years because of my heart failure. I have multiple TIAs, which are, TIAs are mini strokes, so small strokes that resolve themselves within 24 hours. I've also had 2 heart attacks. So 2 of my 3 heart attacks have been during the last 14 years. 2009 and 2014 were my last 2 heart attacks during this 14-year run of being in heart failure. About 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago, my heart failure really began to take its turn. And what I mean by that is it began to get worse. With heart failure, there's 4 different stages. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've been in 3 to 4 for the stage 3, now 4, which is final stages of heart failure, for the last 3 years. 3 years ago, before my birth, or the week of my birthday, we found out that my heart failure was going back into severe status. On top of that, I was starting to show signs of kidney failure and things of that nature. So at that point, it became, okay, well, what do we look at now? Medicines have stopped working. I've been on pretty much every cardiac med, and they just no longer work. They no longer work for one of 3 reasons. They no longer work because my body just has become immune to them, and they just no longer are able to do the job from a medicine standpoint. 2, I'm allergic to some of the medications, not so much cardiac meds, but pain meds, things of that nature, I'm allergic to. And then 3, the side effects in a lot of these medications while they may help one aspect of my heart, it's going to hinder another. And so the side effects are too great. And so for those three reasons alone, I've been taking off medications because they just don't work, the side effects, or I'm just allergic to them. So that's really kind of hindered a lot of what doctors would do now because, well, those typical things that they would start to do, and I've been on some of the newest medications and the same thing. My body just doesn't react to it. My body doesn't take to it. They just don't work. And so for me, doctors are kind of left scratching their head because, for the last 3 years, they're like, well, what do we do? There's not many options. We can't just go cut you open because, and I've had doctors over the last 12 years, especially say, to cut me open to do an 8th stenotomy, which is cutting me stem to stern, is not really a viable option. Because to cut me open for an 8th massive time, I have had some of the top doctors and surgeons in this country tell me and that's a big if I were to survive it, I would come out in a vegetated state. I get asked all the time, am I a candidate for a heart transplant? The short answer, the simple answer is no. I have gone through evaluations for heart transplant, and I just became not a candidate for several reasons. The risk factors being the other. And then the other part of it is I was never able to develop a good, solid post-operative care team. Now, most people would go, well, what about your family? What about your mom? What about your family? And it's not that they're not a matter of wanting to. It's just for my mom, who's watched me go through this my entire life, to sit there and to watch me recover from a massive surgery that I most likely would never come out of anyways, it's just too hard on a mom. I don't hold any resentment to her. I have no hard feelings about it. At first, I was kind of irritated, 10, 11 years ago. But I understand. I get it. I get it. So over the last 3 years, my health has begun to decline more and more. In July of last year, so almost a year ago, I met with my team in Denver, seen a new team in Denver, Colorado, at UC Denver. And he let me know, the doctor let me know at that time, Dr. Joseph K. at UC Denver, told me that my left ventricle, which is what pumps everything through your body, the left side of your heart, the left ventricle, is what pumps all that blood and oxygen through your body and through the rest of your heart. He told me that my left ventricle, or LV, was weakening and diminishing more and more, and that it wasn't able to pump properly anymore. And he's like, well, we could reinvent, we're not going to reinvent the wheel, but we could start your processes all over again, transplant, trying medications, all this stuff. And again, we tried a couple different medications and they just didn't work. And I was like, after a couple days of thinking about it, praying about it, talking with my family about it, I decided almost about a year ago, in July of last year, that after 40 years of being a medical guinea pig, I didn't want to start the process over again. I wanted to just live life. Now, we weren't given a time frame. I wasn't given a direct time frame at that point in time, but we knew it was going to be a matter of time because my heart was weakening. And when you get into that last and final stage of heart failure where your left ventricle is diminishing and its functionability is diminishing. It's just a matter of time. Now, my EF, which is called ejection fraction, which tells you what that is that the percentage of that tells you how well the heart is working. Well, my ejection fraction is roughly 15%. So my heart is functioning at about a 15% clip. So it's not working very well, guys. It's why I'm on oxygen and all this stuff. And so decided to live my life, to enjoy my life with not having my health be the determining factor in how I live my life. It's like, after 40 years, let me just take my life back and live my life. And if I die in the process, then so be it. That was God's plan. And kind of surprising to me, I actually had the full support and backing of my family. And the reason why I say it's kind of surprising is because, my family, I've got a daughter who is 17. She lives in Arizona with my folks. They have custody of her because of my health. Normally I would have been like, I would have expected my family to go kind of push back a little bit. Well, if there's something new, but, we should try it or this and that. But at the same time, they got it. They're like, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. We've done everything we can. They've done everything they can. Excuse me. Time to just live life. And so that's what I've been doing. 4 months ago, 4.5 months ago, I was admitted to Vanderbilt Medical. I was living in Tennessee. And I was admitted for complications to my heart failure. After a series of tests that they always run on me, I met with the cardiac team there. I was hospitalized for a week, and they told me that my left ventricle, my heart is getting even worse than it was back in July. And I was told on February 9th of this year that I have 6 months or less left to live, based on the aggressive nature and the severity of my heart failure, and that I need to be on hospice care. Back in July, I had people ask me all the time, well, how much time do you think you have left? Because remember, back in July, I wasn't given a direct time frame. Well, now I do. Now I have one. And I would always tell people, I'd say 12 to 18 months is probably what I have left. Boy, I kind of hit that 12-month mark right on the head, didn't I? So currently I am 4 months into that 6-month time frame, and I'm declining more and more every day. I wear oxygen 2 to 3 times a day, 2 to 3 hours, about 2 hours at a time. Sometimes more, depending on how I'm feeling. My stamina is shot. I can't do very much. I am awaiting a facility placement. So I have in-home hospice, which means, and I've been on in-home hospice since February 12th when I was officially put on hospice, where I have a nurse come out once or twice a week, check on me, do all that stuff. And so I am in the final end stages of heart failure. And I have dealt with this for the last 14 years. It's progressed, and now for the last 4 months, it's gotten even worse. I'd say even the last 11 months since we made the decision back in July, it's gotten worse and worse. So that's my story. That's part of my story. That's my health part of my story. And I know that there are many families and many children out there that deal with CHD. There's many patients out there that deal with all various forms of CHD. And again, CHD is congenital heart disease, congenital heart defect. And what I want to do is I want to be an advocate and a voice for all of you. You know, whether my time is up in the next 2 months or God, by his grace, extends it, doesn't mean I'm healed or healthy. It just means God is giving me a little more time. I want to be a voice and an advocate. And so by me sharing my CHD story and my CHD journey, it's my hope and it's my prayer that it encourages you, it inspires you, it causes you to have a reason to believe and to have hope for yourself, for your child, for your loved one. And so if you deal with a CHD of any kind, or you have a loved one that does, please feel free to comment below. Hit me up. You can go into my bio. You can find my Facebook, my Instagram, my TikTok stuff, and hit me up. Let me know how I can encourage you. Let me know how I can support you and be there for you and help you walk through this journey that you're going through. Because for me, I want to give back to a community of people in the CHD community who have been so impactful in my life, especially over the last several months. So that is part one of my story. I mentioned that I have a daughter. She is 17, and she is completely healthy. She has no health issues whatsoever. So that is a blessing in and of itself. My next video, which I will probably do tomorrow, I will outline the personal side of my story, what my childhood was like, the things I went through growing up, and why I am who I am today. So I pray this video blesses you. I pray it encourages you. I pray that this helps you understand my story a little bit better from this aspect. And I look forward to sharing with you more tomorrow and in the days ahead about the rest of my story and the rest of my journey and the rest of my life. And again, in hopes to encourage you, to inspire you, to give you a reason to believe and a reason to have hope. I love you guys. May God bless you richly. It's your boy Ben.